brought the sky onto my heart to cover up what I don't wanna show. I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Loaded up with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, take me higher. You take me higher, baby, take me higher. You take me higher, baby, take me higher. Yeah, you take me higher, baby.
Welcome to Radical Truth to Power, the progressive news show with Leslie S3. I am your host, Marlon, along with Thiz, along with Anna Hart. You better not be yawning. You just sit there and told me I'm tired. On a so far internet working show, because I'm not seeing no issues. So today, as you see from the title, recent development into the Israel-Palestinian conflict, which will mostly be hosted by Anna, who knows more about all of this than me, as a matter of fact. And I want to first and foremost thank you so much, because you literally sent me enough videos where I finished the whole show in an hour. So that's how fast I got the show all together, the editing, all of it done. As a matter of fact, the longest video that we have is 3 minutes and 41 seconds, which I couldn't cut that any shorter because, I couldn't cut that any shorter when I wanted to, because it just had a lot of stuff in there, but I didn't want to cut it. So first of all, we're going to start off with the lie heard around the world off the bat. The media all of a sudden now deciding to, I hate saying this, but ask the questions that needs to be asked. And then we're going to talk about what the U.S. involvement in, trying to remember the word, the Rafah invasion, how the U.S. responded to Israel pressing on the Rafah invasion. The second hour, the Mama Heart Hour, the returning Am I the A-Hole, a Mafia video of the week, 2 of them to be exact, and straight into Foxy's videos of the week. After that, we will be taking next week off because it's the last week of the month. Plus, it was great timing for Anna, because Anna got something that's coming up next week that I really want her to discuss with everybody too. Before, during the show. Not before the show. We're in the show now. Somewhere during the show. Maybe the second hour. And that's it. Is, how you doing today?
Doing all right. Doing well. No problems. How y'all doing?
Doing good. Anna, how?
Good. Had the family over. It's Sunday, so my brother and my nephew. We just finished up dinner, and I had a lovely afternoon.
That's great. Let's see the comments that I have, which is from me, which I meant to say welcome or welcome back. Please do not forget to hit that like button. Let everybody know that we are live. Comment and let us know what you think. Share with others. Thanks, welcome, and enjoy. Without further ado, let's get this party started. let's just jump right into it. Let's go ahead and just get this big, fat, overgrown lie out the way.
Are you concerned, though, Mr. Minister, about the number of civilian deaths among the Gazan population? Not only that, but the famine that now has taken place because Gaza is cut off. Again, no one contests what you're saying about Hamas. We say it every day on this show and have for a very long time, especially after the hideous attack of October 7th. But is Israel concerned about the human suffering inside Gaza, number one, and the number of civilian deaths that have been incurred since this attack began?
We're concerned about 134 hostages. Here's a picture of some of them. These girls are under tunnels for half a year, raped, tortured. This is what we're concerned about. We're concerned about those victims in Israel that were murdered, slaughtered, little children that were put in the oven, women that were raped and killed while they were raped by terrorists, by jihadists. So we're concerned about those. How do we eliminate these folks? And by the way, they're funded. They're funded by Qatar and Iran.
Yeah, they are. Yes,
Qatar is a big enemy of Israel.
They are, Mr. Mayor.
Take it away, Anna.
So did y'all catch that there was a little bit of truth in there, but then sprinkled in with a whole bunch of lies? You know, of course, your country is concerned with your people. Dude, that wasn't what they asked you. It is still we're going to be the biggest victims. There's no way that they could have ever suffered as much as us, and repeating the same old lies, it really, the babies is one of the most blatant examples that have been debunked in all sorts of ways. 2 babies died that day, one 10-month-old, one who was lost during a C-section. Neither had anything to do with that attack. One was lost to the Israeli police. The other was actually a part of the Bedouin population, which, for people who don't know, that is an indigenous tribe, like a minority within the Arab minority of Israel. So they just keep on dipping into a jar of horrors. And very quickly, because you know what, this was some of the craziest research that I've ever done. You know how everybody was asking where was the army in those initial hours? It was because Israel has a cleanup crew called Zaka. And really that's what they are, a glorified cleanup crew who comes in after disasters happen. They say they're going to treat the bodies with respect, except there's a lot of evidence that goes to the contrary on that, including whipping out photographs of mutilated bodies. So these people get to set a narrative, Zaka, and they set some really terrible ones that Israel just is not letting go of to this day. And those recent clips, the one we just watched, the other ones that are going to be on in a moment, was from, I believe, a week ago, not even 2 weeks ago. So as we go into the second one here, it's amazing. You finally hear 6 months later the questions that I would have liked to hear from the beginning. I'm glad they're asking them at all. But I don't know, does anybody have anything to add?
Only thing I want to add is he told the truth without really trying to tell the truth. Do you have any feelings, any qualms, any worry about the hundreds of thousands Palestinians starving? And you basically said, no, we're more concerned about the 108 prisoners. You told the truth. That is concerned. We'll hear later on another thing that I caught him saying over and over again. Well, I don't want to give it away now, but something that, again, him telling the truth without him really purposely trying to tell the truth. Your top concern isn't for Palestinians at all. That's not your concern. But like I said, later on, he's going to say something. He's going to repeat something over and over again. It just caught my ear when he was, for a lesser term, under the gun from all the questioning that's coming his way. But I'll leave that up for the next video. You got anything, Theus?
Only thing, and keep zoning back on this, man. I'm looking at this is what Europeans do across the globe, and the Israelis who you keep seeing on TV. You ever notice that they look straight up European? Israel is a nation state. Judaism is a religion. It's not an ethnicity. We've allowed it to morph into an ethnicity, but it's not truly an ethnicity. And yet, the only spokesmen, the stakeholders you see that come to you are the European appearing Jewish people who came out of Europe and got Israel. You don't get to see the brown people of Israel. They don't ever put them forward. It's almost like they don't exist. So I look at this and I say, okay, from the time Israel became established, it established an apartheid state and is running as an apartheid state the entire time. The only way that you can effectively run an apartheid system, just look at America with Jim Crow. Look at South Africa with their apartheid. The only way you can do this effectively is you have to dehumanize those who you oppress. So to ask a man who is, he looks like he has to be maybe in his 50s. So his entire life, he's grown up under apartheid systems. And he's only one generation removed from the atrocities of the World War II assault on his people. So there's nothing that would even lead a rational person to expect him to see the plight of the Palestinians in any true light. What I would love to hear someone say, and they'll never do it because it'll be considered internationally insensitive or something of that nature. But I want to know, what's the exchange rate? What's the exchange rate? See, in America, you've heard me mention before, what's the exchange rate of black life to white life? How many white people have to die to equal one black death? How many black people have to die to equal one white death? We know it's not 1 to 1. We know it's not. So here we are in Israel, 1,400, I think it was, approximately, people who are declared dead as a result of the attack from Hamas. Almost 30,000 dead. And the number continues to roll for the Palestinian people. But your vengeance has not yet been sated. The reason why you don't have your hostages back is because you refuse to negotiate for them. The last time you decided that you would negotiate, you got hostages back. And then you reneged on part of your deal that you structured. If you went back and you negotiated again, you get your hostages back. Those that you haven't already killed, though you'll say that Hamas did it, but you know yourself you've killed some of your own hostages. You had, I think it was 2 who escaped, waving a white flag, running towards the Israeli troops and got shot down by their own people. But you'll blame that on Hamas, and as an extension, you'll blame it on all of Palestine. Because they're not people to you, just like my people weren't people to the Europeans here. So that's where I look at this, and it's like, I'm not overly invested in the war because I got too much over here to deal with, but the parallels are right there. And it just is so irksome when I hear a European American talking so bad, like they get on the news and talk about, Israel this, Israel that, and we got to have feelings for Israel, or even when they speak on the other side, we got to have feelings for the Palestinians. But they're not saying that about black people in America, indigenous people in America. You don't say that. You don't even bring it up. So that's the thing for me. The death and the mayhem is horrible. I never would condone it. But it's not as cut and dry as they try to make it out to be.
Never is.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go ahead and move on to still air quoting the tough questions that the media is now coming around trying to ask.
I have always looked at Hamas as Nazis. They're terrorists. Have you always looked at Hamas as Nazis?
Unfortunately, yes, and it was demonstrated October 7 what they do.
Yeah, so you always have. Have most of the Israeli people always looked upon Hamas as Nazis?
Well, some of the people in Israel, because we seek peace, thought maybe one day they will prefer peace than war. October 7.
What about Benjamin Netanyahu? What about him? Has he always looked upon Hamas as Nazis?
Well, you're talking about Qatar or Hamas?
Hamas.
I think that everyone understands that Hamas's charter is to destroy Israel. And by the way, not only Israel.
So you've always known this. I mean, yeah, we know the charter.
Yes.
So let me ask you this question, and I can't get an answer, and maybe we're just not covering it in the press. Maybe you can help me out. Why did Benjamin Netanyahu send the head of Mossad to Doha 3 weeks before the worst attack on Jews since the Holocaust and told Qatar to continue funding Hamas?
I think, if anything, October 7 shattered that concept. And it's my understanding.
But you just said you always knew they were Nazis. I always knew they were Nazis. I would never give. We were always angry that Qatar funded Hezbollah and Hamas. I want to know, why did Benjamin Netanyahu do that? Let me ask you this. Why did Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump know in 2018 the sources of Hamas's illicit funding, and they still did nothing? They wanted that money to get to Hamas. I'd like to know why, because we don't know in America. Have there been any investigations in Israel at this point?
I'm sure we'll investigate it, and I totally agree with you. That Qatar is a wolf in sheep's clothes, and they're buying their way in.
No. I must correct you. Benjamin Netanyahu was asked by the leaders of Qatar, do you want us, Qatar, to give money to Hamas? This was in September. And Netanyahu's representative said, yes, of course. You're feeding that wolf, and you're telling that wolf to feed the Nazis in Gaza. So explain to me, because I really want to know, why was Benjamin Netanyahu and his government funding? They were allies with Qatar in the funding of Hamas. Why?
I think it's a mistake, and it was uncovered October 7th. October 7th demonstrated that if you think you could buy quiet, peace, by funding Hamas, it's a huge mistake. And it's clear to me right now.
Why did Benjamin Netanyahu, knowing that their charter said that they were to kill Jews and eradicate Israel, why would any leader of Israel work to fund that organization to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars and work with Qatar to fund Hamas?
I think that question should be asked, and we'll get an answer. We'll ask.
It's been asked. When are we going to get the answer?
Fine.
We've been asking it for 6 months. When are we going to get the answer?
At the end of the day, once we finish the war, all these challenges will rise and we'll deal with them. Right now, we're focused on winning the war.
First of all, before you say anything, Alan, I just want to make one thing perfectly clear. You are a liar if you think you actually was asking that question for the past 6 months. No, you haven't.
No, more than Joe wasn't, but the Biden administration was asking those questions the whole time.
Yeah.
These questions have been being asked. That's the only reason it's made it to the media now, is because the Biden administration has greenlit the news to talk about it. So, no, these conversations have been going on. It's just you got a devil trying to talk about another devil, talking about another devil that they created. It's like a devil frat party, and can't nobody say who brought the beer.
That's an excellent thing. That is an excellent way. That basically here is my point. Yes, these questions have been asked, not on mainstream media and not where a lot of Americans are getting their rhetoric, but they have been asked on a lot of different podcasts. A lot of, if you go towards anybody who is a scholar in the area, if you just have any interest in wanting to follow current events. But yes, why has our media made a big change? And it's because just last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, Biden started talking about this publicly as well. Of course, our media gets the whole green light. And yes, this is connected to Biden sees his numbers trailing. It's connected to so many different things. Like we often say, we'd love for people to ask, why are we being given certain narratives and why now?
Yeah, I wish people would have a longer memory, right?
Yeah.
It just, every time something goes on, it follows the exact same pattern. Every war we've ever been in, everything, it's like propaganda up front so that they make sure they're pushing everybody emotionally towards the side they want you to be emotionally attached to. And it doesn't matter how accurate the stories are. We actually want them to be as scary and, pardon me, as charged as possible so that you don't question details. You just get on the right side of the team, right? Mm-hmm. Then it goes quiet. And so Biden's been doing this long enough, and I'm not sitting here trying to be a Biden cheerleader. I'm just trying to speak what makes sense, people. Biden's job is to be the president of the United States. That means there's a lot of relationships and stuff going on. All this stuff going on, it's not even really about Israel, man. Like, everything America does is about America. So when he was trying to get Benjamin Netanyahu, whatever, however you say his name, right? He's trying to get him to be logical about this. Yes, you have to respond, but don't go too far. But he can't say that in public because Israel is America's biggest ally. So there's a way you do things, and you don't go and put your homeboy on Front Street while you're trying to work with him. That's just law. That's how we're supposed to do anyway, right? If me and Marlon got a serious issue, I'm not going to sit here and air it out on the video. I'm going to call Marlon up and we're going to talk about it. But over here, you're not going to really know what's going down. But that doesn't mean behind the scenes there are serious things going on. So yeah, Biden does all, and his team is doing all this stuff behind the scenes. That's why we didn't get any news for a while. That's why all we were getting was America stands with Israel. That's why weapons were still being shipped out, because you got to do business as usual while you're trying to get him to pull back. But then Benjamin Netanyahu and his team spat in America's eye yet again and came to America and sat there and talked bad about Biden, had press conferences in Israel talking bad about Biden. So then Biden, and then you had the thing where Israel decides to launch attacks against Iran, not Iran proxies, which is the way the game is supposed to be played, but they went right at Iran. So now you're making things too hot. So that is when you heard Biden speaking change. That was when you started hearing little nuggets of things, because now he has to come to Main Street and talk to us. But he still can't be too loud about it because of the politics side of it. But that's just this war. The same narrative happened with the Iraq war, the Afghanistan war, you name it. The process is always the same. So when people, sorry, I'm getting worked up, but it's like people do this lazy thinking. They look at this and say, Biden should stop this. Okay, how? He does not run that country. How?
If Biden were to, because a lot of people, and this is also something that has been coming out more in the media as well, the question of if so little regard is being shown for international war crimes and human life, why are we still at least putting our money into it? What you're not really thinking of is that, let's say the U.S. takes their money out. Israel still got the second best army in the world with the arguably some better equipment, and I hate when I blank right in the moment.
The slaughter would be even worse.
Yeah. And before, when you were saying that, they choose certain buzzwords, there's a reason why they keep on bringing up, especially stories of essay. Yeah. And there was a guy from that company. This is a private company too. This is nothing to do with the government. Where he was trying to show reporters photographs of what he said were babies who had been burned. And some journalists actually looked at those photos and were like, I cannot see what you're seeing.
Well,
and so
even within that, like, not even getting too far into like the weeds of that, but you're right. But they'll tell you war is hell. You talk to any soldier, and a soldier will tell you war is hell, right? So America, every war we've been in, especially in the last 20 years, we've had many problems with our soldiers raping people, killing people, kidnapping people, robbing people, right? These are our soldiers. Okay? So why do you think that Israel soldiers ain't gonna do that, or Hamas soldiers ain't gonna do that. That's like war. Like lets the most evil aspects of your soul run amok. Right? Best thing to avoid war is to avoid war. But they don't want to have that conversation. And then like I'm sitting here trying to be like, look, the reason why I say the things I say is because of the human side of it. I'm looking at the tapestry of history and how things flow out. I don't like Israel. I don't like Hamas. I don't like none of them. Okay? But what I really don't like is you oppressing somebody for 50, 60, 70 years and then expecting them to continue to play pity pat with you.
Yeah.
And when they finally slap you back, then all of a sudden you want to clutch your pearls.
Now you're the victim.
Now you're the victim.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Look at what these slaves did to my family. You mean your family that has enslaved them and their family for 30, 40 years now? Them people, them slaves? Right? Come on, man. What we need to do is, I mean, I don't know how you're going to do it at this point because it's so deep and twisted. But America really is not concerned about Israel. America is concerned about Russia, China, and Iran. And Russia and Iran are providing supplies to Hamas. China is providing supplies to Russia. And America is using Ukraine and using Israel as proxies so that we do not have to go fight it directly. So for those of you who say, we should just cut off the money and we should just turn our backs. Are you ready? Because we will go to war.
That's what I was
just the
saying.
dark, dirty side of this.
Even if the money were to be cut off, there is still not only the second best army there, but okay, you still have other countries sending funds, sending weapons. This does not stop.
Nope.
If Biden were to say, okay, we're stopping.
Nope. And it's bad because America is, as the world oftentimes calls us, America is Big Satan. Okay?
Yeah.
We're to mess with everybody all the way around the world, so we have no credibility. And Obama started trying to put some credibility back in the game, and his hands are a little and then you got Trump came in here and he was just like, man, I don't care what you do. And then you got Biden trying to come back and rebuild some of those things. The world is a mess right now. And what I'm so frustrated with are people who will sit there, look at the world as a mess, and they will say, I need a new president because the world is a mess. Your president doesn't run the world. Never has, never can.
All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get to the second video of the media asking the tough questions.
We will investigate that. We were caught by surprise. And there are many faults.
Let me ask you
both
this.
of the Army and the government.
How could you be caught by surprise? How could you be caught by surprise when you had Hamas's plans for a year? Netanyahu had Hamas's terror attacks for a year. Why didn't they act on it?
These faults will be uncovered, and there are many challenges, and we will investigate everything. Honestly, believe me, everyone in Israel, right, left, we all want to go down to to investigate, have deep investigations on this issue, okay? But this is not the time. Right now, we have to focus on winning the war. With all due respect, this is not the time to interrogate and ask these questions. And I agree we should ask these questions.
With all due respect, I would say if Israel, a country that is absolutely necessary to freedom and democracy in the Middle East, in the world, if Israel has been led in this position by a leader that allowed all of these things to happen, how in the world do you trust that leader to make the right decisions in the most important war since 1973?
Well, we're a democracy, and we have our rules. and we obey the rules of democracy. And right now, the Israeli government, and by the way, the war cabinet, which is expanded, including the folks that were on opposition, were all united to win the war. And we want to focus, with your permission, not on what was wrong on October 7th or what led to it. Many mistakes, many problems. We're putting all that aside at this point, and we're all united winning the war. And I want to emphasize, we got to bring back those 134 hostages that are sitting right now in the tunnels, raped, tortured. It's just terrible. And I think the world should focus on that. And number two, focus on that wolf in sheep's clothes. That's, of course, Qatar and Iran that are funding it, giving safe haven to Hamas leaders. This should be off the chart, and we must realize that they're a big enemy of Israel. And let's right now focus on how to win the war. When we finish the war, all these questions will arise,
by the way,
and we will deal with them all.
Netanyahu's, they funded Hamas for years through Netanyahu's.
That was the statement, and Theus, you're muted. But that was the statement that I heard over and over again. Let's finish the war. Let's finish the war.
We're not done killing people.
We'll investigate after we finish the war. You know you're not going to investigate. You won. Whatever your
here's the funny thing.
Whatever your definition of winning is, whatever the war is over, you ain't investigating nothing.
Just like America.
You're not.
America went into went into Iraq on BS. George W. Bush is a war criminal. More than 1 million people died as a result of his invasion into Iraq on bogus intel, on manipulating the public's emotions with false information, manipulating all of our partners around the world with false information. And what did we say? Yes, now that we found there's no weapons of mass destruction, we will investigate this and we will hold the people accountable who put us in this war. We did not do that. We are not going to do that. We just said we were going to do that. Not going to do that. So Israel's doing the exact same thing, like literally. And they dare America to say something because it's just going to turn around and be like, for real? We ain't investigating nothing. And then he said, wait until the war's over. Bruh, you just went from saying you fighting Hamas to you want to fight Qatar and Iran too. When that war gonna be over?
That, yeah. It's distressing for me, a humanist, to see anybody suffering. You know, but you're talking about, you go back to babies and you go back to rape because you know that statement alone carries more emotional pull than murder. They have studied this. They know what pulls on our heartstrings. So yes, as we pull from examples from the past, from the present, try to keep a steady mind. Ask yourself, why are they asking these questions? Why now? And especially for us, you know, more and more of us are getting very disillusioned with our mainstream media. We're tired of not enough nuance, not enough, and I don't mean just hearing from both sides, not enough facts. And when something that actually does start to work, that does start affecting war, like the BDS movement, and they started bringing out all of the companies like McDonald's, like L'Oreal, like General Mills, General Mills actually caved to this pressure. They divested from Israel. Want to know somebody else who goes to Israel? Our police for training. So it's more, what aren't they telling you? What aren't they asking? What aren't they saying is what you should be trying to think about. Sorry, I can hear myself in the other room, and it's kind of
Well, part of what concerns me here with all of this, like you were pointing out how people are disillusioned with mainstream media, as we call it, and they're disillusioned with our government, and they're disillusioned with each other. But here's the thing. No one has the apparatus to get different points of view and get information to you like your mainstream media. Remember, CNN International is still a viable part of the news, just like Al Jazeera is still a viable part of the news. It's CNN, MSNBC that are problematic, right? Because they just speak to you what you want to hear, Fox, right? But as people become disillusioned with this, I'm so worried about where this leads to, okay? You're going to leave the propaganda machines, which is a major media, and you're going to go online. No one's proofing the stuff you're getting online. You're getting people like us who have our opinions, who are just taking in information from the things we've observed and are read or watched. That's still not the same thing as actual news, people. This is opinion, right? And it's all over the internet. So when you go through YouTube and stuff like that to get your news, because you're disillusioned with CNN and MSNBC and Fox, you're going to people like Joe Rogan. You know what I'm saying? It's like where we're headed is actually worse because there's no regulation, no oversight, no public pressure. There's nothing you can do to affect all the random disc jockeys online who are just telling you what they want you to hear and they'll spin you up, right? Outrage media is it's an entire industry now. And so I'm worried about where that goes.
And yes,
we're not reading, we're not learning.
Yeah, with Parker's comment, Al Jazeera absolutely is Middle Eastern mainstream media.
But
absolutely,
yeah, because everybody has an angle. Everybody has an angle.
And you should be aware of those angles. And this is why I try to go all over and see what different countries are saying.
And you'll still never get the truth, but you'll get a better understanding. Right? And it's much better than just sitting down and listening to MSNBC or Fox talk to you all day. But even then, at least you're getting something, right? But my concern is just as people flee these corrupted things, they go to something even worse.
I agree. I do think we're going to start to see more products come out that center around. Have you all heard of Ground News? It's a website. It's an app where Ground, Ground, Ground News.
No.
It's an app, a website that basically they give you all kinds of news from right, from left, from different countries, from all over, but it is sourced information. You know, take what you will from those sources. It'll also show you what headlines are written like from this source, from the right, from the left. And it gives you an idea of just how differently people approach what should be the same thing. It should be facts. But it also has a section for, it's called your blind spot. Basically, it's trying to bring to you news that you never would have seen because you're most likely in a bubble. You know, I do think there are more. I don't know what the overall oversight is. I do know I am pretty happy with ground news. I do use it, and I do see things that I never would have before.
I hear you, and my point is not
I
that
can.
all news is bad, and that's good that that's out there,
Oh
and there's
no,
other ones out
no.
there because I just hadn't heard of that one. There's some others that try to do some sourcing for you. They curate
Mm.
different angles and things, but are we really the
We should
people who
definitely learn how
the
to
people
source
who are going
things
to go out and
ourselves.
act on this? I'm sorry.
Yes,
No, the
We should
people who are going to go
definitely
out and
learn
act
how
on
to
it,
source things ourselves. But yeah,
we should, but we're all busy and the information is on like a hose. So it's really hard to, to really grapple with a lot of things. So you pick up what you pick up, and that's how you end up in your echo chambers and all of that. But my thing is, people have always been underinformed. The people who have the information, let's be real, this is my personal opinion. This has nothing to, well, all of it's been my opinion, but this is a little more narrow in my opinion. The more I interact with the public, online and out in the streets, and at work, and wherever, the more I'm concerned, I'm more concerned I get because people do not try to process information. They go to the easiest and most comfortable zone, which is an emotional response to things. They don't even care to want to know more. So you can curate all you want and do all these different things. It's going to be the same little segment of people who go to those things. Those are the ones who already were prone to want to dig in and learn more. And maybe I want to challenge my ideas. Something, like there's a certain type of personality that goes out and does that. That's a very small part of the people out there. So that's why I get so concerned, right? Because it's like people don't want to know more. They don't. And the less you know, the more problematic you become. And also, the other thing this is what I was trying to say. There's a lot of things that go on in the world you don't need to know about. This thing of like, well, you should trust the public and give us no. There's a lot of things that the government does that your butt don't ever need to know about. Because that's part of being the government. Doing some dirty, dark stuff. Some people that they then took out in this country or took out in that country or paid off this country so they don't attack that country. You don't need to know these things. Because if you knew it, you're going to go run your mouth, which would then mess up them paying these people not to do this thing over here. So you be careful what you ask for. Everybody thinks they're supposed to get all the information. You can't handle the little information you get. So.
All right, everybody. I did have one more video, but I think if I play it, it's going to take us over the hour. So we'll just hold on to it for another day, and we'll just end the first hour early. Thank you, Diaz and Anna.
I can really kind of quickly.
Good. Anna?
Sorry, but I can kind of quickly just take us through. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Everything okay? Oh, okay. Sorry. Theus led you were and okay, my dog is shaking up the joint. Before Theus, you were cutting in and out just a little bit, so I wasn't sure if it was me or what. But no, on April 1st, we had Israel send rockets into Syria, Damascus, where they hit and badly damaged an embassy. They claimed that this was not a place for the people, this was a place for military operations, and there were two generals, I believe. One of them was Soleimani's replacement. They were there and are not on this earthly plane anymore. And so because of that, you hit an embassy, you hit their sovereign territory. And Iran sent what many would call a very measured response to Tel Aviv. A lot of those rockets were intercepted, a few of them, I believe a dozen, got in. And Israel then vowed, I will respond, but they responded in kind. Nobody truly wanted an escalation right then and there, is a feeling I get. But it is worrying when you have suddenly you have people from Lebanon sending Iran. You have people from the Yemeni Sea with the Houthis. You know, that people are worried, and we're saying just about every other weekend, like, phew, that was close to World War III. Like, and I kind of do laugh at that, but a very measured response on both Iran and Israel's case.
We're
Okay,
still
we
here.
all disappeared.
I had to yell at my children. Sorry.
And I think you are frozen.
No, I mean, I saw the.
Yeah, we're having a bit of a delay with your.
I think my
feed,
internet's a little bad.
Yeah, but
I-
what real quick on that thing that you were saying though, with the escalation and the tit for tat and all of that, they did those things. Those are how different countries basically communicate with each other, you know, in these types of situations. But it's just, you just heard the dude say that he wants to go to war with Iran and Qatar. So what's next? You know, so we'll see, but it's just a bunch of people. You know, at the end of the day, Netanyahu doesn't want to get out of office so he can be prosecuted,
Yep.
and he dehumanized the Palestinians, so he wants to go ahead and do maximum mayhem to them on his way.
Yep. But once again, these are our opinions, and we're trying to reach for what makes sense.
All right, now with that, we'll go into the second hour. I appreciate this and Anna because they have a lot more knowledge on the situation than I do, and I like learning or getting more in depth insight on the situation. I know very little. I ain't gonna say very little. I know enough to make me dangerous. So it's nice to get more insight into these things. We are going to go ahead and go into the second hour in the Mama Heart Hour. Am I the a-hole? two mafia videos of the week, and straight into Foxy video of the week. 3-minute break to reboot and refresh, and we'll see everybody on the other side. Stay tuned.
Living for weekends, wishing I could take a break from this world. Running on a hamster wheel, but searching for something I can't feel. I just wanna be a lost girl and fly. Take a breath, feel my wings spread, levitate above the ground and make eye contact with clouds. Now I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free, finally, finally, finally. I wanna be free, finally, I wanna be free, finally, finally, finally. I wanna be free, finally, finally, finally. I always daydreaming, never imagined I lose my spark. Living in this crazy time, putting back the pieces of my mind. I know how to run from the dark and fly. Take a breath, feel my wings spread, levitate into the clouds. I'm so high above the ground. I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free, finally, finally, finally. I wanna be free, finally, finally. I wanna be free, finally, finally, finally. I wanna be free, finally, 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 finally. Higher to a bird, you, I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free, I wanna be free, I wanna be free, I wanna be free, finally.
Well, at least two of the three are back. So without further ado, let's go ahead and pay those bills. Please do not forget to go to patreon.com/Tracy Media Fan. Help support Tracy and all of her endeavors. Please do not forget to go to Anna Hart's website, BorelliEtc.com. Learn something that you didn't think you need to know, but you should. Please do not forget to go support Thea's on his website, OurUnitedCore.com. And if you need to reach me, you can do so at radtp@outlook.com. That's RADTP@outlook.com. And I am not going to disrespect Mama Heart 2 nights in a row. So it is the Mama Heart Hour.
And with that, I will give you the little bit of news that Marlon teased at the head of the show. The first Saturday of May is very generally a nationwide, if not international, push to have Lyme disease and other tick-borne infections recognized. This is a time of year you will start to see things like Niagara Falls turn green. Certain buildings, the tops, the lights will turn green. It is incredible. I got the pictures of what they did last year. I'm really looking forward to this year, and I'll share them with Marlon. But so what we do during this time is Mama Hart started a rally way back when it was just herself, and she was just so aggravated at the way doctors were treating me, the way just the way Lyme patients were being discredited and abused in some cases. So she made a sign. She wrote, I believe, Lyme lives here, and went out and danced her ass off, because yes, it's the second hour. Danced her ass off for 4 hours in a place that has not only a lot of motor traffic, but also it's a beautiful part of our local area. We've got water and a lot of restaurants in this place. So before you go over a bridge, you go by this little community green. And that's where we have been for many, many, many years in a row. Sometimes not always the first Saturday, but we'll make it in some other time. And yeah, we hold up signs. We get the people to really interact with us, which is, it's incredible. When people are honking at you, waving at you, because not only do they now recognize you, we've been doing this for almost 2 decades, but there are people that will pull over because of all of the stores in the area, so they get to a parking lot, and they'll walk up to us. They'll start asking questions. What is this about? And it is a great time where we get to connect with people we have not known before, but we also get to see the people who have supported us in our home community for decades. And that feeling, it's priceless. It really is. So
I sent you a private message, so yeah, need
sure.
Don't say it
I
out
will
loud.
take it.
Don't say it out loud, but I need that.
Okay. Will do.
Am I the a-hole? Three videos on the block for this one: the original story, the top comment, and of course the reply from OP. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Would I be the a-hole if I uninvite my mom to my wedding?
My parents got divorced when I was 16. Dad cheated with mom's sister. Oh no. That couldn't have caused any family problems at all. After the divorce, Dad married my aunt. 2 years later, he realized his mistake and divorced. He then tried to get back with Mom, but she was having none of it. When she discovered the affair, Mom stopped talking to a lot of people, Dad included, because a lot of them knew about the affair and covered for them. Family, friends, if they knew before she did, she cut them out. She would only communicate with Dad through lawyers, my brothers, and me. My mom remarried 5 years ago. My dad is still heartbroken. 3 months ago was my engagement party. It was the first time in years Mom has been in the same room as a lot of the invited guests. I asked while planning the party if this would be a problem for her. She said it would be fine. I thought that meant she was ready to forgive and move on. Oh no. She was friendly with some, got on well with my future in-laws, but gave a frostbitten cold shoulder to most. Aunts, uncles from both sides of my family, my grandma, friends her and dad used to be close with, dad, all tried talking to her. She acted as if they weren't there, that they didn't exist. I was mortified and angry. It's been years. She couldn't make an effort. The next day I went to see her. We argued. I accused her of breaking her promise to me. She asked what promise. I reminded her that I asked if we would have a problem with the guests. She said no, that it would be fine. She then said that she told me no lie. She was fine with the guest list. It was my party, but she made no promises to interact with those guests. I called her childish, resentful, vindictive, that those personality traits are probably what drove dad into another's bed. Oh, what are you doing, OP? Why? She made me and dad look like fools in front of everyone, and if she wasn't going to forgive, if she wasn't interested in repairing our family, then she was uninvited from the wedding. That was 3 months ago. She hasn't reached out, apologized, or anything. Can't imagine why. I sent a message inviting her dress shopping. She didn't reply, and she was a no-show on the day. I sent pics of the dresses I liked, asking what she thought. No reply. I sent another message asking if she'd join the next shopping outing. Perhaps we could find her a mother of the bride dress. Again, no reply. What did you expect to happen? You entitled little shit? I went to dad upset. He tried calling mom, but as usual, his call went to voicemail. I feel hurt by all this. Yes, I said things that hurt her too, but she is being so stubborn. I'm her child. She should put some work in to mend what broke. My brothers have told me they disagree. They say I'm selfish and self-centered as dad. If mom never speaks to me again, it will be my own fault. The thing is, mom never gave dad a chance to make up for what he did. He's still sorry about all that happened. I'm afraid she'll be as stubborn and bitter about our fight as she was about dad's affair. We all make mistakes. So am I the astronaut? I think possibly a small TA, but she is too.
So before we even say anything, because we just may be able to just add on to what is going to be said. Here is the top comment.
Top comment. You're the asshole. Your dad was heartbroken. Oh, poor baby. And your mom didn't make much of a scene. She just didn't interact. You're expecting far too much. You should have been thankful she did as much as she did. Her friends and family who knew betrayed her in the worst way. Her sister betrayed her. And you expect her to get over it? Sounds like you definitely chose your dad, so enjoy your mom-free wedding. And the balls on you to call her those names and then say that's probably why your dad cheated. Honestly, you're the worst. Even your answer to the bot pisses me off. She's stuck in the past. Not only did her life partner betray her in the worst way and upended her life as she knew it, he and her sister destroyed their relationship with her biological family. And then to hear friends and fam knew and didn't tell her, that left her totally alone with no fam to lean on, no one to trust at all. And obviously her daughter couldn't give a shit because she was too concerned with dad's feelings to even try to understand the sheer devastation of the wrecking ball your dad and aunt threw into her life. Honestly, you're awful.
I'm getting rather sick and tired of certain stories where we hear, and it's the second hour, and we won't be here next week, so I can just let loose. I am sick and tired of these stories where you figure that the victim always have to be the one to fix the issue of being shitted on. This is going way too much. Too many of these stories, whether you have been cheated on, you have been made a fool of, you have been abused, you have been neglected, you have had enough of all of it, but now somebody in that family wants you to fix what happened to you. Because obviously your ass is too fucking lazy to fix it yourself. Or, and here is a novel idea, stay the fuck out of it. I'm not speaking to OP. You got your dad, you got your mom, they're not in each other's life. Your mom went to the party, she was cordial. That's about as much as you was going to get. No, you moved the goalpost with, no, I need you to go to this party and make amends and everything so we can be one kumbaya ass damn family. Also, little daughter, your mother has shown you that she has the ability to cut off any and everybody who has wronged her. Why would you think you was different? I know what your answer would be, because you're your daughter. You're the daughter. This is the wedding. That should negate your mother's feelings. And now you learn the hard way, it doesn't. Nobody wants to be shitted on and then be grateful for it. That's not realistic. And your mother has made a very clear boundary. The worst thing you could tell your mother, let alone anybody, but let's say your mother, you're the reason why your husband cheated on you with your sister. Now let's move on from what I said and just pretend like everything is cool. You are the worst. You not enough for the worst of the year, but you are a terrible human being to know. You are a spoiled, as Dusty said, you're a spoiled little piece of shit. The last video is just what I want to put on there because surprisingly enough, OP did respond to something that when I played the video for Foxy, she actually made a comment about, or she made a statement about it. And it just so happened that OP made a comment to somebody else about it. But anyway, what you got, Anna?
Had this been me, not only would I have asked my mother, will she be okay being in the same room with people who betrayed her, but I would really try to make an effort to seat her with people she could interact with. Now, I recognize there's a lot of people outed themselves out of that list a long time ago. And just everybody is reacting from an extremely hurt place. I cannot expect the mother to forgive and forget. No, that's asking too much. I think every little girl wants, her parents. Only not every little girl, but those who dream about that day, let's say, and brides have gone into this hellaciously selfish place that they wouldn't normally go into in other ways. So I don't like what the daughter has done. Am I ready to call her an asshole for that last line? Yeah. You don't say, this is why you drove your husband to cheat on you. There's just a lot of hurt people acting from hurt places, and the more that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I think I would have, if this was my mother, I would have asked her, can you come in for like a dinner of our own? Can we celebrate in another way, knowing that there's going to be a bunch of people there that you're not speaking to. And daughter, all you asked her was to not make a scene. Now, did she probably make the place feel uncomfortable? For those who can feel that kind of energy, sure. But you are the host, and you should have thought of that. I guess that's the best answer I can come up with just off the cuff, and I know we have a little bit more to share.
Well, before I turn it over to Theas, let me go ahead and reveal the statement that Foxy said when I played the video. She was like, and I'm just paraphrasing here, something to the effect of, yeah, you really think that you need to forgive or forget, but it'd be amazing if your fiance did the same thing. Would you feel the exact same way? Well,
additional info from OP stated in comments. OP stated that if she was cheated on in this way, she would try to forgive and forget. She wouldn't want to break up her family and if her fiance slept with her sister. She wants her mom to let go of her anger and forgive everyone and move on. Bullshit. 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 That's the biggest bunch of bullshittery I ever did see right there. Tell you what, that is bullshit.
All right, this is all you.
I only got two things. The second video, the response, that was the response piece. I disagree with what that said. That covered everything for me. And then the other thing is, this is why I have such issues with people who don't have rules about how they fight. And we've had these discussions on here a few times in the past. People just say what they believe, they just say what they need to say when they're angry or whatnot. And I'm like, no. There should be rules that you carry within yourself that control how far you'll go. And what she said is just a simple red line. So she only said it to hurt. There's only one intention to say it, which is to hurt. So I have a real problem with people who fight like that. That's it. That's all I got.
All right. Mafia video of the week. Okay.
I thought there were two.
It is. No, it's two Mafia videos.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I heard two.
No, it's two Mafia videos, not two MIA hoes.
Oh, sorry.
The first of the two has two videos, if that literally makes sense to anybody, other than myself. I'm gonna get this off by just spoiling or not spoiling. It really depends on. I know this is abuse. I get it. I'm not saying that it's not. what I am saying is I have literally never heard this kind of abuse before. And that's all I'm going to say. I have never heard of it. I have never experienced it. And it's in the form of the second video. So please do not go rattling off what I just said from the first video. It's the second video where I'm saying I have never heard of this type of abuse before. And no, this is not a got you or ha ha. I'm literally serious on this one. Never heard of it. So let's go ahead and get into the very first one. Husbands killing plants with bleach.
I have many, many house plants and even some that were quite expensive and were gifts from my sister. Within the last 6 months, at least a third of my plants have died. I've had houseplants my whole life due to my late mother's own love of houseplants, and I know a lot about plants. The death of the plants didn't seem related to the lack of light or inconsistent watering or lack of nutrients or even root rot. They just died very suddenly. I tried to not let it upset me too much because plants die, and it was not any of the expensive ones until now. My sister gave me a 5-leaf Monstera albo rooted plant for my birthday 2 months ago. It was beautiful. This morning I was crying pretty hard about it as I unpotted it and took the look at the roots, and I was looking hard at this plant and roots to see if its death was pest related, and that's when I noticed a smell. I sniffed my potting mix and I smelled bleach. The only other adult person in my home with unlimited and unobserved access to my plants is my husband. Why would you bleach plants, man? I don't understand. I wasn't able to talk to him for several hours, but when I could speak to him, I very calmly but very directly asked if he had done something to my plants. He denied it at first. I said I smelled bleach in the potting mix of the albo my sister had gotten me, and that the only person that could have put it there was him, and he caved. He said he was putting small amounts of bleach into the fertilizer water jugs I prepare. I started crying. I asked him, why would you do this? You know I love these plants. Why would you destroy them? He didn't really answer, nor did he really apologize. You think he's jealous? You think he's jealous of how much attention she gives the plants? The trust I had in him is absolutely gone. I think maybe counseling can help us, but he is the one that did this. But I'm the one that would have to set up the counseling. The angry part of me just wants to be done with the relationship. I know that might seem overboard as we are married and share a child, but I feel that now I'm not safe around my husband. Edit. I thank everyone for giving advice. The town home we live in is mine and my sister's, our inheritance from my mother. My husband has an office/den/gaming room that is personal space, and there are no plants there. There are also no plants in the kitchen. I'm not a plant hoarder. Like, he has a room for himself. I also have a sunroom, and that is where the concentration of plants live. He has no reason to go in there. It's not access to our backyard or anything. I saw some people saying maybe he's sick of bugs, but I do not have a fungus gnat problem. I did see one person ask why I did not smell the bleach when I was watering, and I can only say my nose wasn't all up in there, maybe. I can also usually smell a natural systemic in my fertilizer water called SNS 209 that smells heavily of rosemary, but I ran out last month and haven't replaced it yet. After our convo yesterday, I needed space. I spent the night in my daughter's room on a trundle bed. I'm going to text my husband today. He usually communicates easier and opens up more via text rather than face to face. I'm going to ask for a reason and I'll see what he says.
Now again.
Go ahead.
No, like I said, now again, what I said earlier, this is not on this video, it's on the second video. But go ahead, Theus.
Okay. I'm going to be petty with the nitpicking on one little piece, and on the other part, I'm going to be very dismissive. First, you no longer feel safe with your husband because he killed your plants. You a little excessive with that. Shut the hell up. Okay? You might not have trust in him. You can feel violated as far as what he did to your plants, but you don't feel safe. What did he do that makes you think he gonna hurt you? Come on, man. I hate. It's like the language. Choose your language, man. That's just right there. If you say some stuff like that, I'm done listening to you. And then now for my dismissive part, these people fighting over plants. So Whatever the issue is needs to be uncovered, and then they need to just figure out how to go their own way. I don't know. There's something deeper than, because she didn't even get into what it might be, which is cool. I don't care because you're fighting over plants. But yeah, that's what I got.
I gotta push back on just one thing, really.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
It's not blazing pushback. It's just a pushback. Is when you do something that's irrational, that just literally just does not make any damn sense whatsoever. That's one thing. But the second part is when you ignore me when I'm asking the questions, or evade the question, or dismiss the question, I'm on going to be on a different level. Like my logic is out the damn window. Like you can't do something illogical and then turn around and go, well, let's not use logic on this for an answer.
What you saying? What you mean?
In other words, what I feel, when you said to dismiss it because it's about plants, it's you can't.
No, I'm not saying for her to dismiss it. I'm dismissing the entire story because it's about some plants. In her world, it's a whole different thing. Because somebody just attacked your plants, which is like crazy. Like it's crazy. It's like waking up in the morning and finding out that your spouse let all the air out your tires. For what? Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's crazy. But okay, decide what you're gonna do and move on. It's just not like it's. I don't know. Like I can't get into it. I just can't get into this particular story. I'm just like, it's the plants. So your husband got some issues. Obviously, y'all don't talk to each other. So y'all got real issues. Y'all got real issues. And it just manifested with this stupid plant. And if the truth started coming out, we might start finding out what you done did to him. And this is a tit for tat, toxic relationship. And y'all needed help before now.
All right, Anna, do you got anything, or you need a moment?
Oh, I have something. Plants are living things. And the fact that he has shown the disregard for a living thing. Now, I know we step on plants. He systematically poisoned living things all around his life. And that's if you're not into plants. If you are into plants and see a beauty, a world, a great hobby, a way to feed yourself, your family. And this comes from her family. She remembers planting with her mom. And yes, the very fact that you would slowly poison something to death. I have to question your sanity. Where are you coming from? And if you do not talk to me,
No, he deliberately found what means a lot to her, and he went after it.
yes.
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not going. we do differ on that particular point. I'm not gonna get emotionally choked up over the plant, other than the fact that what he did was maliciously targeted to hurt her in the most personal way he could, and he did it on the low.
That's
Like he
what
didn't
I'm
even come out.
crying about,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, because
Like,
he did this
okay,
on the slick and didn't even want to tell her.
I
He
do
wanted her to
love
think she was crazy.
right. You know, I do love plants. I am not a gardener. I am not somebody who can bring that magic from her fingers. I know people though who are magic in the soil. I even have a friend who got the maybe this is where I internalized. I got a friend who got that plant, the Montserrat. It's gorgeous. It is, the leaves are bigger than your hands. It's gorgeous. Anyway, it is his the sinisterness, the disregard, the throwing away of emotions, and no, I'm not cool with this. Not cool.
I'm not cool with it. But here's my thing. This story. I mean, like we were just talking about how why are you hearing this and why are you hearing it the way you hear it? Like the story you sharing is about a man that you are married to and you're raising a child with. And the story you're sharing is about him maliciously killing your plants. Whole lot's missing here.
Agree.
Like, you don't just go from everything's fine to he's killing my plants. Like, whole lot missing in here.
Well, let's go ahead and get into the second video then. And this is the video. This is the part that, like I said, I know this is abuse. I get that it's abuse. I've just never heard this type of abuse before. So please, Thea, because Anna will let me. Please, Thea, let me get my thought out before you jump in.
He's gonna mute himself. Yep.
Oh man,
I will too.
as soon as I say something out of pocket, that mute button will be flipped so quick.
No,
He's literally trying to do it now, Anna. He's literally. But here's the second part of the story.
What are you seeing? I'm not.
My husband won't be welcome in my home anymore, and I need to find a lawyer ASAP on Monday. I did text him, and he admitted again to putting bleach in my fertilizer water. He says it wasn't every jug I made, so that explains why it wasn't all my plants dying, but randomly over the past 6 months. His exact words that I deserved to be knocked down a peg. What? What? Okay, hold on. Okay. After the text communication, I went home from work early and I entered his office. I usually respect his space, absolutely. I don't even go in there to grab dirty dishes. I don't know what I was looking for, but the hundreds of comments saying he was working up to something worse or already was doing something else really worried me. I went in there and I found a drawer full of my daughter's dolls and dollhouse furniture and little toys. No. I bought her that dollhouse for her 4th birthday last year and she has loved it. She takes such good care of her toys, but something always ends up missing and it's always my husband who notices. He lectures her about keeping track of her things and how he won't let her play with her dollhouse if she keeps losing things. He keeps going till she starts to sob. When I hear this going, I always step in and ask him to go take a break. I assumed he was losing his cool. I've told him it is not how to deal with this with a kid, and he says he just wants her to grow up responsible. I now see that it was some weird scheme or a setup or something. He would steal the stuff and stash it away and point out that it was gone to berate our daughter till she cried. My sister and her husband's dad came over this afternoon and they've changed the locks. I've texted to tell him he isn't coming back, that he could come on Saturday morning to grab his essential things, but that my brother-in-law and another man would be there to watch. Sorry if this is unclear or things seem missing. This Reddit post isn't super my priority. I will probably not be updating again. Thank you to everyone who was worried about my safety. Well, yeah!
Here's the deal. This is just to get this out. I have literally heard verbal abuse on certain things, such as, for a lack of a better term, so please do not beat me across the head over it, making a big deal out of the smallest incident. The little kid spilled water on the table, and you act like he took a chainsaw to the table and crushed it to the ground. He's 5 minutes late from school, and you act like he just came in from 24 hours ago and you ain't seen him. You know, things like that. This is literally the first time in my life I have seen somebody manufacture a reason to fuss at a child. And then I'm going to stop right there, because the other part of yelling and screaming all the way until they start crying, I have heard of that before. Like, I've literally heard enough abuse that I don't think you could get it across until you cry. I've heard that before. I'm just saying, I have never heard somebody would manufacture a reason to verbally abuse somebody. I have never heard that in my life. It is, you do not deserve a family. You don't. I don't know what's going on with you. And to be honest with you, maybe the next week or a week after, maybe I'll sit down and try to think of, at this point in time, I just don't even want to care enough to even try to figure this out. To manufacture a reason to yell at your daughter to the point of tears so that she can grow up to be more disciplined, or whatever it is, the word responsible. Dude, how is she gonna be responsible when you're stealing stuff from her? But that's not the point. That wasn't your point to begin with, because that was just some bullshit damn statement that you already had popped up in your head anyway to use. It has nothing to do with discipline. It had nothing to do with responsibility. It just, you wanted to get to the part of yelling at your child to the point of tears, and somehow that's your satisfaction. So I'm gonna pull a Theus and Anna, and I'm gonna mute myself because I can feel myself getting a little hot here. So I'll let them take it.
You're a piece of shit. There's something wrong with your brain. Okay. Okay.
Am I allowed to talk now, Marlon? Okay.
Wow. Oh.
Oh, as I was saying, something was missing. Like, the way the story originally was given to us, like, this dude out of the blue started killing your plants. No, he's an abuser. And there's other examples she could probably, now that she can look back at it, she can pull other things out. He resents her. He probably resents that her and her sister got that house and that he lives in. He probably resents that she probably has money he doesn't have control of. He probably resents that he's not doing professionally what he thought he should be doing professionally. Who knows? The dude got issues. Get your daughter and move on about your life. And there you go. But I'm just saying, it's about some plants. When the way the story came out, there was more to it. This was just like a piece of the puzzle. Put some more out there, like he did in the second part. And it's very clear. The dude is an abusive dude. And it only gets worse from here if he's not checked.
Is there more credit to her not feeling safe in your mind at all now?
Not from the with respect to the plants. The part that makes me say that she doesn't feel safe is like she was saying.
With everything.
Yeah, it's the total package. Like the fact that he would sit there and yell at your child, even though you didn't know what he was doing with her toys, he would sit there and just yell at her and yell at her and yell at her, and she's like a little bitty kid from I think they were putting. So he's just berating the child. That creates an environment where your child doesn't feel safe and the child is confused and you don't feel safe because you can't get between him and the child. See, that would make more sense with the safe piece. What he did to your plants, I can't trust him. Something's wrong with him. I don't know what's going on with him. That's not the same thing as I don't feel safe with him. That was her telling part of the story that's bigger.
Maybe she didn't even understand.
I'm sorry?
Maybe she didn't even understand how much bigger this.
Yeah, she would.
Right, but what I'm saying, that part of the statement, I don't feel safe. That's a very powerful statement to make. Okay?
Right.
That can put a man in jail for the rest of his life. That can lose a man his career. That can do a lot of damage. I don't feel safe. So I'm taking that weighted statement and what she did share. Now, as I said, there was more going on than what we were given. Because once you get more, then you can see why she would say that, even in that moment, because that was more of a trigger point for all the other stuff that ain't been right. You see what I'm saying? So the stories didn't jive. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
that's all.
I'm trying to understand.
I got it.
Thank you.
Soft words.
Smug, greedy, well-fed people have invented a language to conceal their sins. It's as simple as that. The CIA doesn't kill anybody anymore. They neutralize people. Or they depopulate the area. The government doesn't lie. It engages in disinformation. The Pentagon actually measures nuclear radiation in something they call sunshine units. Israeli murderers are called commandos. Arab commandos are called terrorists. Contra killers are called freedom fighters. Well, if crime fighters fight crime and firefighters fight fire, what do freedom fighters fight? They never mention that part of it to us, do they? Never mention that part of it. And some of this stuff is just silly. We all know that. Like on the airlines, they say they want a pre-board. Well, what the hell is pre-board? What does that mean? To get on before you get on? They say they're going to pre-board those passengers in need of special assistance. Cripples! Simple, honest, direct language. There's no shame attached to the word cripple that I can find in any dictionary. No shame attached to it. In fact, it's a word used in Bible translations. Jesus healed the cripples. Doesn't take 7 words to describe that condition. But we don't have any cripples in this country anymore. We have the physically challenged. Is that a grotesque enough evasion for you? How about differently abled? I've heard them called that, differently abled. You can't even call these people handicapped anymore. They'll say, we're not handicapped, we're handy-capable. These poor people have been bullshitted by the system into believing that if you change the name of the condition, somehow you'll change the condition. Well, hey, cousin, doesn't happen. Doesn't happen.
I love that last one. I love that last one. What's the name change for you or for the handicapped person?
Well, sometimes the name changes are important, right? Cripple needs to be retired. Cripple needs to be retired. because no one's
I agree with that one. Yeah.
right. They like. Do you mean like my
I
hand is
don't care that
disfigured?
it's in the
My leg is
Bible.
disfigured?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I
The
did.
Bible is your whole book, not mine. But
Mm,
crippled is just really a term that was fine in the dark ages. We know better now. Um, I personally, even though I don't suffer from any disabilities presently, um, I learned at some point, I think it was an HR training or sensitivity training or something like that, that you say that persons with disabilities. You don't say disabled people. You say persons with disabilities because you don't know what the disability is, and they're a person first, and the disability is secondary. And that's just how I roll. I don't know how people with disabilities would prefer to do it, but that's how I roll because that was cool for me. But yeah, that's one of the ones that I'm like, now there's some terms that need to be retired. We need to elevate our language here and there. But
I agree.
once it gets to the point you're doing, like you pointed out at the end, though, where you're
Yeah.
just changing the words as though that changes the situation. No, I don't agree with that. Right. But yeah, we got to find better terms sometimes. Right. We just do.
Mm. So I am a multi-layered disabled person. I have mental disabilities, physical disabilities, and I will um I'm lacking the right word. I do feel passionate about the word disabled because, number one, like I am not taking it on as it's a terrible, I am now less than person. It means I have gone through a hell of a lot of shit in my life. And sometimes I crawl out the other side. Sometimes I roll out the other side. Sometimes I walk. But that was, yeah, cripple. Mm, I do have a problem with that word, just like the two of them said. And it was not a word that I felt comfortable using for myself. I do know people who use different terms. Like every once in a while, I will throw in, I'm also diversely able because that is what a disability forces you to do. It forces you to find your way around. Um, but I have had, when I tell someone I'm just getting to know that I am a disabled woman, and I'm someone who I don't need persons with in the beginning, but I respect 100% of where Theus was coming and thinking. And so when I tell people I'm disabled, they have this look of shock on their face, and a few have said, "Don't say that about yourself."
Did she
I
freeze on?
imagine if they say that she froze. I imagine if they say that they're saying
Sorry.
it from a good place. But you're right. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
People do say that because it's an uncomfortable thing. It can be anyway, I guess. It can be uncomfortable. But it's like so
but it needs to be worked through. I
yeah.
definitely had to share with them that no, it's not a bad thing. It is just correctly labeling to help you understand where I'm coming from. That's it.
But it varies from person to person though, right?
I,
Because
I get
There are
that.
some people who don't have an issue with the term handicap, right? They grew up in the 70s or the 80s,
Yep.
90s. That's just the word it was. They don't care. Give me
Right.
my ticket, give me my sticker, give me my tag. Leave me alone. Let me handle my day the way I handle my day, right?
Yep.
But then there are others who would be like, no, that's an old term, right? That'd be like calling a black person colored, right? That's an old term. Toss that. We don't call ourselves that anymore, right? I'm disabled or I'm a person with disabilities or whatever the terminology might be. But it all runs the gamut based on who you're talking to. But I think most people can agree that the term crippled is a little insulting.
I
Just
agree.
like
I mean,
it's almost pulling their humanity out of them. Like, you are this thing over here now.
yeah. There is something called Crip Hop Nations, spelled with a K, KRIPHOP.
There's no C word spelled with a K that's good. I'm sorry. The Klan messed that up. I'm sorry. You're right. No, I'm sorry. Not the time to be funny.
I can see where you're coming from, but this cat's point was that you can be crippled, like he was okay with that language, and instead of hip hop, crip hop, and
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Why does that sound like a
I don't know.
1980 dance?
Look, it's cheesy.
Video.
It does sound cheesy. But if the segment or the group, 'cause it's not everybody, if the segment or the group finds that particular thing that works for them, it's kind of like, I'm black, and then you got people call themselves African American. And I mean, personally, I don't care. You can call me African American or you can call me black. But I do not want to be called any of the terms that have been outmoded, right? And I'm not even talking about the worst one. I'm just talking about some of the other ones I don't want, right? It's cool. Like they got K-pop for Korean pop. It's not just pop music. It's Korean pop, right?
I was just
So what are you
thinking,
going
I
to
don't
call
know
it?
if
Diss
there's
hop?
a reason. There might be a reason that it's a K, and honestly, I really don't know. But
They're probably a Kappa.
Mhm.
Kappas like to
Well,
put a K on everything. Sorry, that's another thing. Anyway.
but I'll have to look up an interview, and there's great music.
Yeah, but it's cool. It's just, words
But
are
that's
fun.
for
Words are
them.
fun.
Once again, still, I am not for myself. That's not my word. I don't begrudge anybody else their own self descriptor. No, unless it's so absolutely ridiculous.
Here's a question,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if this actually happens or not. It's in my imagination because I don't live in that part of the world, right? If you say to a person, I'm disabled. I don't even know how that conversation comes up, but I'm sure it does, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm disabled. Once you say that, do you find that you oftentimes are now in a short or mid conversation about your disabilities now? Because the term doesn't tell the story. I'm disabled. Oh, really? What's going
Oh
on?
well.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, because it's almost like you've opened the door now.
Right. And because I am an advocate, I do open the door for people to ask me questions. I will tell strangers that I have tick-borne infections and will at least try to get them to be a little more cognizant of insects and arachnids out there. With friends, it is important for me. Like, okay, we started to have a working friendship with each other with this show. And it became really important for me to have you guys understand sometimes like what happens to my brain. Because there are times when I'm having the bestest of conversations up here and I can't quite direct it the right way. Or I'll think of something later, or because of the way my brain is wired, I sometimes can't hold on to a lot of details when new ones are being introduced often. So like that's where when I get to ask questions and you guys are perfectly fine with it, with recapping a story. Yeah, it was important not only because that would make the show smoother, but also because you guys and Tracy are important to me.
Well,
And yeah, I would tell you about it. And I would also then try to gauge how much do I need to tell? How much can you take in? There is always that give and take, and sometimes somebody can't take in the heavy shit.
I have learned to adjust this show to everybody's wants. There are some stories I just flat out just will not show on the show because of this. There are stories, I'll tell you about it later, this. There are things where it's just so, and this is not to put you down, Anna, but I listen to some videos. It's so heavy set with information, and the person it is like, dude, there is absolutely nothing wrong with me, and I'm catching every other word, and I'm putting the pieces. I know myself enough, and again, it's because of my elementary school, that don't read the sentence. Read the sentences as pieces, because there's going to be a point where you're going to hear somebody who talks that fast, but you're still going to have to put the pieces together to understand what's going on. Is it fair? No. But if you want us to see, you got to get through it. And I have learned how to do that. So I have listened to videos where they're talking 100 miles per hour, and I'm getting what's understanding, but I'm thinking, Anna's gonna turn her damn phone off and just go to bed because ain't nothing in this.
I'd be asking you guys questions, or there are things that can turn my brain off. So I don't know if that's what you're referring to.
That's what I'm saying.
I think he was just admitting that he watches that dude who talks real fast. That right wing dude.
Ben Shapiro?
Yeah, that dude. He was just admitting that he watches that.
I have not watched a Ben Shapiro video in years. I can't stand it. It has nothing to do with his speed. I honestly, well, first of all, his rhetoric pisses me off. And this is petty. I can't take that voice.
I don't like his speaking voice either. It sounds like a little bitty kid.
It's like
it's just
scratching across what is the chalkboard. I can't do it. It's like, dude, I just
for
can't
me.
do
It's not the chalkboard thing. It's literally like listening to a little kid talk, but I'm not listening to a little kid. Like, I like listening to little kids. I don't like listening to grown people who sound like little kids. Like women who have that really squeaky little girl voice. That grates my nerves. Him talking in a little bitty boy voice, it grates my nerves because it's just like my brain is like, these don't match. And it gives me trouble.
even when this is something in our throats that we don't have. I mean, okay, we do
We
have
have some
control.
control.
We
Yeah.
can try to,
And there's some people who don't. Like, there's some
Should
people
we?
who, like, they develop their speaking voice and it locked. And that's just how they talk. Like him. I think that's how he talks. And I've known girls who talk like this. And that's just how they talk. And that's cool. Yeah. I'm just not going to kick it with you. I was self deselect.
The Red House was a tough decision Marlon had to make whether or not to show it.
But it's for white people and black people and all people.
It was a tough decision to show it again.
That's probably one of your best videos.
It was even a tough decision. It was even a tougher decision to make it video of the year because Foxy's videos of the week. First video of the night, when that milk you got yesterday goes back.
I guess sometimes it's the simple things. I'm glad they have fun together.
There were plenty things. That was an aggressive milk and I don't like it.
Sometimes you got to protect yourself.
That's that whole milk.
What you say?
I said that's that whole milk. Skim milk wouldn't do like that. The 2%,
I like
they just like to get
two.
along.
I do. I like two because skim is too thin. My tummy does not like things too thin.
I just
I don't like milk. I used to drink milk. Like, it was like the drink that I would drink. I would not drink milk. But that's cool because there's something genetically anyway where most black folks are lactose intolerant. But I just don't like it anymore. It is most people, but it is real high for black folk. But yeah, it's some genetics. But it's cool. I can eat ice cream, and I have no problem with cheeses. So I'm not lactose intolerant. I'm lactose sensitive or whatever you call it. But I don't like milk. Like I remember as a little kid, my babysitter when I lived in Germany. When you go to her house, there was two drinks. It was green lemonade. Green Kool-Aid. The green Kool-Aid. I don't know why that was just like everybody had green Kool-Aid. That was just why. And milk. So you could either have milk or you could have some Kool-Aid. Yeah, it's like lime. It's just disgusting. But it was very common.
Green Kool-Aid, because I'm looking at you sideways with why is your lemonade green?
Yeah, not green lemonade. I said that wrong. It's the green Kool-Aid.
Why would you not have red Kool-Aid? Like even in Europe where guys
I don't know. But as a kid, and this is just anecdotal, so this is absolutely not representative of any group. But I had a lot of white friends when I was younger, and they had a lot of milk for a beverage. Okay? And in Germany, everybody had green Kool-Aid. I didn't care who you were, black, white, whatever. Everybody had green Kool-Aid. I don't know why.
And in the hood, in the hood growing up, it was red, whatever. Now, the first one is always going to be cherry. If you couldn't get cherry,
there wasn't no flavors. There were no flavors. It was red. I didn't care if it was raspberry, cherry, strawberry. It was red. But
Ooh, mixed
you
berries.
take that grape Kool-Aid and the yellow Kool-Aid,
No,
that
see
makes
now,
some good Kool-Aid. You got to
no,
mix them.
no. Stop.
What? That's a hood banger. Man, oh
Was
man,
it?
we love that one.
That was not a hood banger. I got so sick and tired ever since I started dating Foxy. Can I have one flavored Kool-Aid? Do not mix 15 flavors in a pot and call
You
it
take
Kool-Aid.
purple and yellow and you mix it together. It's delicious.
Flavors. That's it. Period.
You did
Grape
great. You
and
did
lemon?
lime.
No, I never did lime.
I mean lemon.
Tell them, Foxy.
I'm curious.
No, I just want one flavor. One.
Kool-Aid doesn't have all those flavors. It just has colors with some names written on them.
Can't you pick up a glass by yourself, Marlon, and pour your own?
I made a whole picture by myself. Guess what?
There you
Came
go.
back that day. It was 2 other flavors in it.
2 flavors. That's it.
I didn't
You
want
just put
that.
2 together.
I don't. What are y'all?
You take raspberry and strawberry, you put it together, and there you go.
One. What are y'all missing? One.
Man, you probably follow the instructions on the packet too, don't you?
Yeah.
Come on, bruh. You don't even know how to make Kool-Aid right. You're supposed to you put the Kool-Aid in the water, and then you start pouring the sugar until the ancestors tell you pause. Or you have a container that you know how high the sugar should be. When you look at the side, you be like, all right, that's about where the sugar's supposed to stop at. That's how you make Kool-Aid. You don't get out a measuring cup and put here's 1 tablespoon, here's 2 tablespoons.
And black people, if you lie about this, you know you're lying. Y'all know y'all didn't use measuring cups. Y'all put the Kool-Aid in there. You put the water in the pitcher. You put the Kool-Aid in the pitcher. You mix that together just a little bit to get the color, and then you get the pack of sugar,
the bag of sugar,
and start.
No.
Till you get to
put the sugar in first, then you put the Kool-Aid, then you put the water, and yes, you measure your sugar.
No.
Measure what?
Foxy, no, you doing it the way you're supposed to do it, but that ain't how you do it. Because see, here's what's wrong with the way you said it, Foxy. Here's what's wrong with the way you said it. By putting the Kool-Aid and the sugar in first, and then pouring the water on top of it, you get those stupid clump things. That now you got to use a spoon to pop it against the side of the container to get them to pop open, so you can continue to mix up your Kool-Aid. So that's why you don't put the water in for last. You gotta put the water in first, and then you're good.
You just met.
I never got.
But you know what? Make it Kool-Aid however you want to make it Kool-Aid. But if you show up at any of my family house with some Flavor Aid,
that we gonna have some words. Yeah, sorry. Let's go on to the next video. If you need to check my phone, I get to check yours.
Where you been?
I told you I was at
I've been calling you for 2 hours. You're supposed to call me on your lunch break.
I was at work.
I've been calling you for 2 hours. Where have you been? You haven't been answering my call. You're supposed to call me on your lunch break. Matter of fact, let me see your phone. What's this?
It's my phone.
Your phone?
You asked for it, right? Look through it.
Unlock?
It's already unlocked.
It's already unlocked?
Yep. You want me to leave?
No, I don't want you to leave. You know what, babe? I'm tripping. I trust you. I'm not gonna look through your phone.
That's what I thought. We're gonna go through yours.
How did you get my phone?
No, it's mine.
Could have done the same thing without her boobies all out, but it's okay. This is like how all the videos are now. The woman has to be half dressed. But anyway, the phone thing. Look, careful what you wish for. This thing, and then 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna find nothing that's like he or she's chatting with somebody else. What you probably is gonna find is a whole lot of freaky deaky stuff that y'all don't do together. Mind your business. That's why you don't swipe left and you don't swipe right. You look at the picture that they put on the phone for you to look at.
Okay.
Oh,
Final video of the night so we can get up out of here. I don't care. In 2 weeks, will be married for 20 years.
Bless you, Foxy, for making it that long with him. That is a wonderful thing.
Wow.
I'm so happy for you. Thank you for keeping my brother alive and healthy for 20 years. Thank you. Thank you. You've done great work. The sacrifice was worth it.
I tried.
I dare you to say something. No, you can't go to bed yet. No, you can't go to bed. For 20 years, we've been married. For 22 years, this is how I felt about her driving.
Oh, I'm driving. You're driving?
Attention all passengers. Please refer to the safety cards in front of you. In case of rollovers or whoopsies, please fasten seatbelts as demonstrated. In the event of iced coffee spills, ponchos are provided underneath your seats. Emergency exits are located to your right and left. In case of any loud and annoying music, complimentary earplugs are provided for your comfort.
Ready?
And as always, we thank you for driving with my girlfriend.
Okay, it's all right. Okay, you guys slow down.
Attention all passengers, we are experiencing some turbulence. Please keep seatbelts fastened.
Turn the music down. I love
You're a liar.
I done roll with some folks. You ever go to lunch with some of your coworkers and you just be like, I'm driving next time. Yeah, folks is scary, man.
I call my friend Two Wheels because that's what she drives on.
For everybody who don't know, what my friends is Dash, and I promise you, Dash on just regular roads, street roads. I don't think. Peace, honey. I love you. Good night. I love you. Sleep well.
Good night, Foxy.
Dash on street roads, I guarantee you, has never been anything below 55.
Well, living up to the name.
Yeah. On the highway, I don't know what it is. Whatever's in front of him. Stop at his.
I drive like an old person. I'm in no hurry. I'm on the interstate, max speed 70. Y'all just going around me. I don't even care. Do your thing. I don't. Hey, how y'all doing? All right. I don't care. I ain't in no hurry. And yeah, and then like I work. There's one person, love her to death. This is my road dog at work, but she got a heavy foot, right? Like she whips and dips like wherever she goes, and that's all well and good. But my thing is to this: all the drivers out there, male and female, are like. Curbs are to be avoided. They're not parking assistance. Okay? You don't roll till the car is forced to stop. Do with that as you will.
And I know this has been a joke. This has been a joke when I was a kid. Which is funny because I'm going to stop saying it's a joke when people actually believes it. So, red means stop. Green means go. Yellow means it's about to become a red light. The joke is always go, red means stop, green means go, yellow means go faster. Y'all take that to heart a lot. You ain't nowhere near the light, but somehow, some way, you done went from 35 to 55.
I know people like that.
Whatever direction you going, stop it.
Yeah, I feel for you if you're behind me because I stop at yellow lights. Y'all be mad at me, boy.
That's the second part that I'm having a problem with. The person that's in front of you who actually knows the law, don't get your panties in a bunch when he stops because he saw the yellow light and it turns red, and now you pissed off because you didn't go through the yellow light. Fucker, I'm not gonna raise my insurance rate for you. I don't even know who you are. Why would
Marlon,
insurance for you?
the funny part is, let's say now granted, if I'm almost at the line and it turns yellow, I'm going. But if I'm not even at the line and it's turned yellow, I'm stopping because at best I'll be underneath the light when it turns red, which is a violation.
Right.
You mad at me because I didn't go through the yellow light, but that means you were guaranteed to have been going through a red light. You ever got through the intersection on yellow and look behind you and the car is still coming through the intersection?
You know you ran that light. You know you ran that light.
People are interesting, man.
Marlon may talk a big game about Foxy, though. There was one night when it was midnight his time. Foxy wouldn't be home till 1. She was driving a long night. And he asked for some company. He was worried. Just once again, the love that these two share is something beautiful. I love the way that you feel protective of her, and she's out at midnight. Nobody would want their partner to be out there driving at that time and for another hour. And I hope I helped that hour pass a little faster, but I know it still went really slowly for him. When you're worried, it goes.
I do love your love. Your love is fun. And what's funny on that note that you just hit on? I will not go to sleep if she's not home. Unless she's gone for the overnight. If she's gone overnight, then I'm going to bed. I'll probably be in bed at 9 o'clock.
But if she's already settled somewhere, so I know that at least she's safe.
But if she's on her way home and it's late, I don't go to sleep until everybody's in this house. But these jokers here, it'd be 9:30 and I'm not home. All of them sleep.
Yes. Yeah.
Whole house be dark.
And she'll tell me. She'll sleep. I'm going to bed. Good night. I love you.
Daddy keeps the whole neighborhood safe. I can go to sleep now.
Literally, she would text me and go on to bed. Good night. And then the next day, she would literally tell me, "You went to sleep and I wasn't home." Okay, you know what? Never mind. I'm about to say I need to know the rules, but I do know the rules. You sleep, I don't. End of story.
Well, you're the protector.
I would stay up as well, and I don't genuinely, not genuine. I don't generally do gender roles traditionally, but I think that's a good human thing. Wait till your people are home safe, and
is not gender roles, because gender roles would dictate, look, lady, you're not working till midnight. I'll find a way where you're not working that late.
Kind of. I would strongly discourage a situation where my wife works that late. But if that's her career, that's her career. That's what the job requires.
I'm saying,
so it is what it is.
Toxic gender roles would tell you I'm not letting my wife work that late at night.
Well, I wouldn't even call it toxic, because if it fits how she likes to be governed or live, it's not toxic. You see what I'm saying? If that.
No, if I'm
It's
saying it's
toxic for
toxic,
you.
you don't care. You don't care. If it's toxic, you don't care that she has to do it, that she likes to do it, that she needs to
And
do
that's
it.
cool. But yeah, I mean, it's toxic if she's resisting that thing. But we could look at something and say, you know what? My wife doesn't work. There's no way my wife can work. Her job is to be at the home raising the kids, and if we ain't got kids, she takes care of the house. Right? Now, by itself, that statement sounds really tell me more, right?
How do I feel about this?
But if you have a wife who is very much into those traditional structures and she just wants to be that person anyway, then that's irrelevant to her. If she fits right underneath that umbrella, she's good to go. So we would hear it and say that's toxic until you talk to her and you're like, well, that's healthy.
Well, and that's the common denominator that I want to put out there is because what you want to do is you want to hold that conversation with your significant other. If it works for your household, it works for your household. How you feel about it being a next door neighbor or the person down the street that's irrelevant. You do what works for your household. They do what works for their household, and everybody goes about their business.
That's how it should work. That's how it should work. I agree with you. As long as you ain't hurting nobody or depriving somebody of their mobility and freedom of motion, then yeah, I mean, that's why I feel like, well, what does it take to have a healthy relationship? It takes two people who are committed to having a healthy relationship, and they will determine the rules that makes that relationship healthy. That's them. That's them. It won't look like mine, you know. But then, like the gender roles thing, like the cool thing about that, even though I haven't experienced it, I'm positive it exists. It just depends on whose personality is to protect their personality. Because there are women who are very aggressively protected, and so they usually we all find like almost like an opposite balance to ourselves. So like I don't argue in public. I'm not gonna send food back. I'm not gonna do this or these things like that. But my wife would be like, "This ain't what I ordered. This ain't how I wanted it, and I'm not gonna settle for that." And then if I'm sitting here, I'm sitting here picking through my food, she'd be like, "No, we sending that back too," because it's a weird example, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I get it because
So
there have literally been
I'm
times.
totally the type who could not send back food, so I get it.
yeah, no, unless it's just horrible, and at that point I'm just like take it off my bill.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm not the one to send food back.
Yeah.
I have been the person who would walk out on a restaurant though, and I don't mean I eat all the food and walk out. I mean I've literally me and Foxy walked out. We sat there. There was nobody in the restaurant. And I do literally mean nobody. We got our water and a good 20 minutes went by before the lady came back. And we're just looking
that's
around.
bad service. Yeah, you gotta leave then.
Yeah.
Wow.
We out.
I've had that too.
And Foxy didn't see this. The funny thing about it is Foxy, oh no, let me rephrase that. That's not even true about the water. We ordered something to drink and 20 minutes went by before we got the drink. We had already walked out. And I looked, and that's when the waitress came up and looking around like, where we go? And I'm like, it doesn't take 20 minutes to get drinks. You just opened. There's nobody here but us. So
that's where communication is really good, and that's old school customer service tricks. Is time runs from the last time you had contact. So if it's running long in the kitchen or it's running long at the bar, you need to make sure you're touching bases with your table multiple times, because every time you touch base, you reset some more time on that clock. So it doesn't feel the same. But if you just disappear, 20 minutes feels like an hour.
To them, yeah. And the funny thing about it is you have to think about the customer. You're thinking it's as simple as, oh my God, All they get so mad because all they want is salt. The customer is thinking, yeah, like literally, you just need to bring me some salt, and I would have been done with you for the next 30 minutes. But now I'm sitting here with my food getting cold and everything else because I have no seasoning out here, and you done disappeared.
That's a whole nother thing. I don't understand people who put salt on their food when they out to eat. I don't get that.
Some people, it's some fast
Not
food
a seasoning, people.
I have a
I'm just messing.
when we moved to Washington State in 1996, my parents take me to a diner like place. Now, please keep in mind, I'm from New York City. I'm used to New York City diners where you walk in and pretty much before you even hit the table, you've already got water and either somebody waiting by with like a hot pitcher of water for tea or a hot pitcher of coffee. They're like, so we come out and we're gonna have my first night out here. We're gonna just have a little bit to eat because we got in from the airport. That's like a 45-minute drive. No joke. We. The place was full, but damn it, for a cup of tea, 45 minutes, and then they left so quickly that we have sugar at the table, but we don't have milk, and we take it light and sweet. So we didn't see that person for another 20-30 minutes. Like,
sometimes you just get bad service.
Oh, yeah, that too. That seems to be a normal thing.
I'm gonna make this an after-hour show, but let's get on up out of here, folks.
Yeah, sorry, we're just starting to tell stories now.
Just tell stories. Means nothing. It'll probably mean something.
It meant something to me. It was an opportunity to spend time with two of my favorite people, and I'm sorry it didn't mean anything to you, Mama.
It meant so much to me.
You already said it didn't matter.
I said it didn't mean much to most people. I didn't say it didn't mean much to people. Just tell everybody where they can find you.
Hey, you can find me on OurUnitedFor.com. And you can also find me here, Radical Truth and Power, and what's the other one called? Saturday Night Vibes. Yeah, there you go. That's where you find me.
Anna?
You can find me at BoreliaEtc.com, right down here somewhere. And also, here on the weekends, with these fine two gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, non-conforming individuals, and of course,
I'm assuming you're Lujabitwa.
I appreciate Biz. I appreciate Anna. You know what? I can't do it. We won't be back next week. We're taking a whole weekend off. Let's go out on a nice note.
It was the 90s, and we were at the fall festival, and there was this game where you threw darts at balloons, and the prize was either these weird mirrors with heavy metal bands, or you could also pick a goldfish. And I really wanted the goldfish, and I popped a balloon, but my friend was like, "Don't pick a goldfish, are you gay?" So I was like, no, and I picked the Twisted Sister mirror. But actually, I wanted the goldfish. I just didn't want anyone at the fall festival to think I'm gay. But looking back, I wish I had been brave enough to be myself at the fall festival, being gay with the goldfish, being gay with the goldfish, sing it with me, gay with the goldfish, being gay with the goldfish. That window is open and there's two guys who could totally hear me.
I appreciate this. I appreciate it.
It's not being gay with the goldfish. It's being gay with the goldfish.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And until next time, we will see you when we see you. Peace.
See what Biden need to do. He needs to put Liz Cheney and the Kinzinger guy in his cabinet, and then you would have a coalition you need to win next election. Boom! I said it.